Welcome to Ani Beast. In the 21st century, humanity attempted to colonize Mars because, hey, constantly fighting wars on Earth is just so boring, right? So they sent special algae to spread water and plant life on Mars. They also sent cockroaches in the hopes that the algae would use their corpses to multiply. 500 years later, some scientists went up there to check up on their little science project. But giant humanoid cockroaches called terraformers killed them. 2 years later, humanity sent another mission called Bugs 2 to capture these terraformers, but they were killed as well, and only a couple of people survived. 20 years after the Bugs 2 mission, and this is how the story starts. It's the year 2006, 19 AD, and we see rich people surrounding a game arena with hungry vulture eyes. They are betting on fighters to the death. A fighter named Arcady enters. He is a tall and strong Japanese karate master. His childhood sweetheart is ill, which is why he needs the prize money to treat her. But to his surprise, his opponent for this match is only 14 years old. Bear. It's a mother-ducking bear weighing 342 kilograms. My dude is screwed. The bear slashes at Candy's face, but he collects himself and uses his amazing strength to fight him. The odds are still not in his favor, and the bear has started devouring his flesh while he's alive. Just as his life is about to end, he thinks of his lover and how she was always there for him. Suddenly, he is filled with rage and turns into a literal beast. He successfully defeats the bear and smashes its head into smithereens. Later, Arcady asks for the money to save his lover, but apparently she has already died and her body was sold to some shady people. His whole world shatters in front of his eyes. Just then, one of the men hugs him tightly and asks him if he wants to save other children with the same diseases as his lover. The man introduces himself as Komachi, the captain of NASA Mars exploration team. The other woman in command is Michelle. This disease seems to be very infectious and it came from a virus from outer space. It is so dangerous that they will have to leave for Mars to find a cure. Arcady agrees to go with them at the NASA headquarters. Arcady has been bedridden for a week after surgery to modify his body. At the place, we see 3 other people: Marcos, Alex and Sheila from Mexico. They are also preparing for the surgery modification to go to Mars for the mission. We also meet Adolf, a German officer for the mission. There's also Eva, who is kind of a shy person, not sure what someone like her is doing in a mission like this, but the anime trope of a shy and innocent girl must be fulfilled. Adolf talks about how the Mars expedition is hard and some of them will get killed. We see that the alien virus is called, creatively, the alien virus. It has a 100% mortality rate, so their mission to save mankind from extinction requires them to find a cure. But the only problem is that every probe that went before has failed to come back because of the giant terraformers who have infested Mars. Their mission name is Annex. The existence of the virus has not been made public yet. It has been a matter of great tension and stress for the scientists. The first contamination seems to trace back to 42 years and has drastically risen till now. They begin their Annex 1 mission to go on their ship, which will take 39 days to reach Mars. While they travel, they go about their days like normal. Akari, Alex, Marcos, Sheila, and Eva become good friends. Sheila even admits that she's in love with Captain Komachi because he was kind to her. One time back on Earth, Hiruma, the deputy commander of Yonsei, is investigating a man, Professor Honda, who was involved as an engineer in the Bug 2 project 20 years ago. Honda tried to mutiny against the members, but Hiruma has come to the professor, not seeking revenge but with the intention to protect his country. He needs Honda's help and information up in space. 39 days have now passed and they are about to land on Mars. Marcos and Akari are waiting in line in the bathroom and are wondering why the girl before them is taking ages, so they peek into the door, but the girl stares back at these perverts. We're expecting her to beat up these boys, but turns out she's dead. A monster comes in holding her body. It's the Formars. Akari realizes that he is able to stop them to leave and find the drugs. The drugs are required to bring out their abilities from the surgery. Turns out there are 6 Formars on board, which is the same number as the officers. They are killing everyone brutally and everyone is panicking. As Marcos and Alex reach the storeroom, they see 2 Formars destroying the drugs. Marcos and Akari realize that the terraformers are intelligent and know that they need to destroy the drugs before the humans can use them. Every one of them is getting killed one by one. How did they get on board? How long have they been here? No one knows. Captain Komachi suspects that this was a setup. and tries to head back to Earth and use the terraformers on board as samples, but his superior declines his request. Just then, the ship breaks down and falls towards Mars. The main engine of the ship is damaged. The 6 officers are taking charge now. We see more terraformers. As the ship is nearer to Mars, all of the personnel are ordered to head to escape ships. The 6 officers take out drugs and inject themselves with them. They receive immense strength from it and they begin their attack on terraformers. While the other crew members are amazed, they kill every terraformer on board. They now have a plan. They will spread out based on their continent of origin and land on Mars using high-speed escape ships. Different officers will be leading different ships. Akari, Marco, Alex, Sheila, and Eva, who were pretty close in their training together, will be separated into different ships. They wish each other good luck before leaving. Once they spread out and reach the surface of Mars, they are mesmerized by the beauty of that place. The greenery is due to the algae that the human scientists released 500 years ago. The team members can breathe with ease because of the surgery they went through. One of the ships, led by the Roman officer, is trapped in a net and crashes. This is the terraformers doing. The ship is swarmed by them and it is impossible to escape. The Russian division is attacked by a terraformer. It cuts one of the captain's arms from his body, but yet he is in his spirits and fights. What is it about old men and anime? The division is ready to capture the terraformer for sampling, but the terraformer beheads one of its important members. Captain Komachi explains to his division that they will be rescued from Earth after 40 days. Till then, their mission is to rendezvous where the main ship is crashed and recover samples of the Mars virus. Their division will regroup with Michelle's group and take over the ship again. Suddenly, they are attacked by one of the terraformers who is trying to go for the drugs, so Captain Komachi drives the ship away. The captain takes Marcos and another dude named Keiji out with him to fight it and capture it alive for a virus sample. They are ordered to take the drug, but as they are about to take in the drug, the terraformer runs in the opposite direction. It was just a decoy. The classic bait and switch. The actual one flies to the ship. They're scared. Sheila is waiting for it. With a net gun, she successfully traps it with a net, which is 3 times stronger than a normal terraformer. The terraformer struggles, but it's useless. Suddenly, the terraformer puts his hands like he's about to do a Kamehameha. What good is that going to do? Wait, what? The terraformer shoots Sheila with very powerful concentrated gases, which rips a hole right through her chest. She takes her last breath on the lap of Captain Komachi, the man she loved, because he was kind to her that one time. Despite them splitting up, the terraformers have found them way too easily. They are way smarter than expected. Captain Komachi, Marcos and the others decide to fight back with drugs. The terraformars may have super strength and speed because they evolved from cockroaches, but this team of humans have a new evolution within them. The strength, speed, and sensory abilities of the huntsman spider that regularly feeds on cockroaches. Using this superior power, and with the rage of losing his childhood friend Sheila, he goes berserk and kills them. Back in the past, Sheila, Marcos, and Alex used to live in a very violent Mexican neighborhood. One day, their town got destroyed by a mob fire. Sheila left while the 2 boys stayed back. After growing up in a violent upbringing, they went to NASA for work. Sheila was also there for an interview. As far as Marcos is concerned, Sheila was everything to him. Marcos continues beating the crap out of the terraformars, but he gets tired. The huntsman spider is notorious for having low stamina, just like me in bed. Ahem. Anyways, Marcos is about to be killed, but Captain Komachi saves him. Elsewhere, Michelle takes on a terraformer solo and destroys it, while the rest watch in shock. On top of the surgery powers, she also has the power of a paraponera ant, which can lift hundreds of times its own weight. Apparently, she inherited it from her father, who was on the Bugs 2 missions 20 years ago. Her ability also allows her to explode her enemies down on Earth. Hiruma tells Professor Honda that Michelle and Akari are the 2 most powerful people on the Annex project. Honda is shocked as he seems to recognize Icardi. Up on Mars, Akari releases his mutation powers. He says that his powers usually make him blind with rage, but with the drug he is calm and composed. He uses his, and an invisible wire to capture the terraformer without killing it. Icardi thinks about another kid he met at the hospital just before the Annex mission. The kid was dying from the Mars virus, and Icardi wants to complete the mission fast in order to cure the kid, since he's still guilty of not being able to save his lover. Icardi continues capturing the terraformers using his mutations. After all, he has the powers of a bagworm moth, which makes the strongest string ever. They put the terraformer samples in safe storage. They start settling down, but suddenly another terraformer crashes down from the sky. A new challenger has appeared. Another one grabs Michelle from the lake and takes her underwater before she can use the drug. They are all left with a terraformer that fell from the sky. It has extremely powerful legs that it uses to lift the vehicle cover. Then the terraformer hijacks the vehicle with the human still inside. Once on the skies, it turns to them. It is about to go full Kaido on them, but Alex throws a rock attached to Icardi's string by attaching it to the bug. Icardi climbs aboard, making a dynamic entry. Then he sends his comrades flying away safely and turns to face the special terraformer. Meanwhile, Michelle has to fight the terraformer that has adapted to underwater living. 2 years ago, Michelle sneaked into NASA to look at the team from the Bugs 2 mission. 20 years ago, everyone in that team was mutated with unique insect abilities. Both she and Icardi realized that some of these terraformers have special abilities, because they use the corpses of the people who died back then. The super-legged enemy breaks free and he starts beating up Icardi, but Alex cannot help him as he has to save the crew members. Using Icardi's strings in the water, the terraformer drags Michelle deep into the waters. She cannot explode this enemy because its body temperature is too low, so she uses UFC grappling to suffocate the enemy. Khabib would have been proud. Then she breaks its legs. However, she is also losing consciousness. Back in the skies, the terraformer beats up Icardi and starts working on the plane, but Icardi wakes up when it jumps in. Icardi uses his strings and his better fighting technique to kick its ass. On top of that, Icardi apparently attached his strings to Michelle so she gets pulled out of the water by the plane. Icardi knocks out the terraformer and Alex finishes the job. Suddenly, they get an SOS message from another team, but Icardi is not sure which team it can't be. The Russian crew, even though they are completely surrounded in front of the Martian pyramids, the Russian crew is chill AF because apparently all their members are made up of combat-trained people. A powerful showdown is about to happen. Michelle wakes up outside the lake face to face with the terraformer. Turns out it got dragged out as well. Michelle brutally kills it for groping her chest earlier. The legged terraformer and Icardi also land on the ground, but Icardi has tied its leg using his string. Michelle allows her facial muscles to smile as she and Icardi work together to capture the two special terraformers. However, turns out their emergency ship crashed so they can only drive it. Instead of flying it, they go towards the SOS signal, which was sent by the Roman division and Captain Komaki's division. Meanwhile, Sylvester, the leader of the Russian division, makes some hypotheses as to how six-legged cockroaches became two-legged. Now Sylvester thinks that it's artificial evolution. When the terraformer gets offended and rushes forward to cancel Sylvester, Sylvester kills him quite easily because he has the powers of a giant crab that is supposed to be super tough, so tough that he can take direct hits from the terraformers and also regenerate his limbs. The Russian squad gets into a fierce battle with the terraformers. They use their mutated insect powers to kill them easily. One of them is Ivan, whose sister was killed the moment they landed. You know, the one who was aiming her net gun but got beheaded like a bowling ball. So apparently Ivan has the powers of a plant that can create hallucinations and fevers. He uses his genjutsu powers on one of them, and it starts imagining terrible things. Sylvester thinks about how his life was affected by terrorists. On top of that, his daughter is sick with the alien virus. Once they capture the terraformers, they enter the Martian pyramids. Michelle and Adolf talk about how they need to get back to the crash site before the Chinese and Russians do. It's the 27th century and the same countries are rivals. Kind of hard to believe, to be honest. Michelle reminds everyone that cockroaches are nocturnal creatures. This means that terraformers are probably going to be stronger at night since we don't have enough backstories. Let's do Adolf the German. He was used as a test subject for the mutations ever since he was a little child. Because of this, he has grown to become an absolute beast of a fighter in the present. Michelle goes to respond to the SOS alert while Adolf goes to the crash site. On the way they are attacked by loads upon loads upon loads of terraformers, who seem to have defeated the Chinese division and are using their weapons, so Adolf and another girl named Isabella enter the fight. Adolf has the electric powers of the electric eel. He uses his knives to attack his enemies with electricity. Even in his past, he was hit with loads of electric shocks to give him this power. Honestly, it's just sad. Adolf starts thinking about his messed up life. He thought that his life was a waste until he met Rosa and had love at first sight. Adolf and Rosa started connecting and he found new meaning in his hell of a life. They started dating and it was a pretty rosy life for Rosa and Adolf. Eventually they got married. However, this story has a sad ending because of course everyone has a sad story here. Apparently Rosa had an affair. That bitch. However, Adolf loves her a lot and he forgives her. Eventually they have a baby, but Adolf has DNA testing and turns out it does not belong to him. That's got to be the worst thing. Apparently his wife cheated on him again. Isabella has the mutation of a powerful carnivorous insect. She has a lot of hype about how powerful she herself is until she's one-shotted by a special terraformer. Adolf is left as the only proper fighter. Now, as he's murdering the life out of the terraformers, he gets sad and starts thinking about his sad life. Suddenly, the terraformers take the Chinese emergency vehicle and come close. They flourish their flag while the rest of the terraformers speak in a weird tongue. They start walking closer in proper marching formation while Adolf drops them like bowling pins. However, he's one man fighting against many and he gets overwhelmed. They are just about to kill him, but his crew members come out in their weak human forms and they try to fight back, but they are easily dominated. Using the distraction, Aniva grabs Adolf and tries to take him back. Terraformers try to stop her, but the others sacrifice themselves to save Adolf, but Adolf is busy thinking about his sad past. Suddenly, he gets this burning rage and a will to live. His electricity power works as a defibrillator and he gets up while his crew members watch in shock. He consumes a terrible amount of drugs, so much that he might end up dying. But what is death to a man who is already dying? He beats the everlasting crap out of the terraformers with his supreme powers and fighting skills, eventually killing half of the entire freaking army. He throws his knives to the leaders and they stop them with a flag. But this was all according to plan. The knives work as a rod. Adolf flips his middle finger at them and brings down an entire lightning on the leader. Honestly, that's so metal. The flag gets destroyed and the leader falls defeated. However, Adolf also falls down after losing all his strength. Thankfully, the remaining terraformers stop moving and they stare at the cliff where their leader is lying down. Another terraformer comes and starts stamping on the leader's heart. Because of this extreme level of CPR, the leader wakes up alive and well. It points to the humans and all the terraformers point their guns at them while also taking the captured humans in their nets. But Eva steps in front of him like the hero that she is. But it's going to be a waste. All the terraformers shoot at them, but Adolf is a man too angry to die. He releases more of his energy and creates a barrier that stops all the bullets. This man just refuses to die. Seeing this, all the terraformers drop their guns. Then they start using slings to throw rocks at them before they are hit. Adolf grabs Eva and quickly whispers something into her ears. Then he is absolutely ravaged by the rocks. The leader halts the attack and Adolf drops dead in front of Eva. While Eva is mourning over him, the leader jumps down to her. Eva starts punching it like a little girl. That's right, that'll show him. When another terraformer goes to grab Adolf's corpse, a ticking sound starts. Well, ticking. Turns out Adolf's body had been fixed with a self-destruct by the scientists who experimented on him. All the terraformers run away like little kids. Instead of running away, Eva holds his head while the other crew members are also happy to die alongside their commander, as they have had a very strong bond all their lives long before they came to Mars. The explosion is huge, and it is spotted by Michelle's division. Based on the direction of the explosion, Michelle guesses that Adolf is dead. Back on Earth, Rosa tries to get Adolf's army payment, but she gets rejected and serves her right for that. Hope we never see you again. Elsewhere, Captain Komaki's division is having a hard time because they have been separated. The terraformers are using slangs and there are several special type terraformers there. Thankfully, their division has capable fighters like Marcus, Keiji, Kanako and of course Captain Komachi. Kanako has the abilities of the needletail bird, which allows her to fly while also being super agile and strong. No terraformer can match your speed as she slices and dices her way through their army. Except for that net, I forgot that the terraformers are smart. Thankfully, Marcus saves her and kills the rest of them down in some caves. Keiji is facing a special type of terraformer. Keiji has the abilities of the peacock mantis shrimp, which gives him regeneration abilities, night vision, and a very, very, very powerful punch. He was also once the world lightweight boxing champion, so he has quite a bit of fighting skills with him. KG is a simple man with a simple way of living. He loves his mother very much and he's a good son to her. One day he suddenly starts losing his sight. He has a retinal detachment which he fixes through surgery. The surgery costs a lot, so he goes into debt. Since his eyesight never became normal again, he has to retire from boxing. So KG starts working as a normal mailman. And the worst thing? His mother also passes away. One day, he is contacted by NASA for the next mission to Mars. Kaguya accepted it on one request to have the insect with the best eyesight, so that one day he can go back and properly look at the town where his mother grew up. So he gets the peacock mantis shrimp, which also has one of the strongest punches which it uses to break shells. Meanwhile, KG's opponent is a terraformer that has evolved from an insect with a super hard shell. It's a battle of an immovable object versus an unstoppable force. They have a pretty intense hand-to-hand combat, and KG even manages to put some cracks on its armor while dodging all its attacks. Suddenly, he starts crying, thinking about his mother and his new friends. The terraformer takes this opportunity to punch him through the wall, but KG seriously has the power of friendship with him and he gets up. He compares this to another tough boxing match he once had. During those difficult moments, he always heard his mother's voice and that kept him going. Now he has all these new friends who are just so happy to be with him. KG is happy, so KG happily murders the terraformer with one punch. Let's go back to a couple of decades earlier. The second mission to Mars, called the Bugs 2 mission. Captain Komachi is so young here and he was not even a captain back then. It's this big and serious dude called Donatello, who is Michelle's father. Another member is this girl named Akita. Komachi and Akita are childhood friends and they are in love, but she was killed by a terraformer. Akita had the abilities of a silkworm and she could create silk threads. Back in the present, Captain Komachi comes face to face with the terraformer that has absorbed her silkworm powers. They are fighting in a cavern which has been surrounded by the terraformar strings. Komachi beats the everlasting crap out of the terraformer and kills it. He has the abilities of the Japanese hornet, which gives him piercers and poisons. Meanwhile, the Russian team is investigating the pyramids, but Sylvester is suspicious because nothing has come to stop them until now. They find a probe ship that was sent by humans 100 years ago to check up on Mars, but the probe never came back. Apparently the terraformers use this technology to become advanced like they are now. Elsewhere, Captain Komachi and KG see a strange device flying across the sky. They turn out to be fueled missiles which explode all over the planet. The humans are not struck by the missiles, but their drugs start losing effect. On top of that, the terraformars go crazy and they get even more powerful. They start killing the humans in droves. The Russians find a control room full of plants and blueprints for spaceships and mutations. They, along with Captain Komachi, realize that one of the divisions from their mission has betrayed them and provided vital information to the Martians. The terraformars are just about to kill a helpless Marcos, but Alex throws his baseball with supreme force. Alex throws lots of rocks, killing lots of terraformars. He also sends the drug with it. Marcos consumes it and regains his insect abilities. Meanwhile, a unique terraformer with shiny armor goes to save the captured terraformars. Another one of the missiles starts dropping, but Alex throws a rock and destroys it. Akari and Michelle also arrive to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and there is no bubblegum on Mars. Back on Earth, the Prime Minister of Japan, Ichiro, who was also the second survivor of the Bugs 2 mission alongside Komachi, talks with President Goodman, the American president. President Goodman reveals that the rescue ship hasn't even left Earth, much to Ichiro's shock. Meanwhile, on Mars, Akari holds down the special terraformer with really strong arms. Michelle goes to fight the shiny armored terraformer. It seems to have adapted from the rainbow beetle, and it uses camouflage to hide, so another crew member named Jared uses his powers to assist her. Marcos and Alex finally reunite. Marcos immediately falls to his knees, begging forgiveness for not being able to save Sheila. Alex is devastated and he punches Marcos, but he also pulls him back up and yells at him to get a hold of himself. He promises to avenge Sheila, so they all have an Avengers Assemble moment and get ready to fight the enemy. Meanwhile, Jared uses his echo sonar abilities that he got from a killer whale. The terraformer appears just above him, and Michelle stops it just in time. They have a serious grappling battle, but let's not forget Michelle's passive ability explosion. That is what happens to the shiny bling ring. Terraformer. Back on Earth, Hiruma tells Honda that the radio to the Annex mission has been jammed, but they don't know by whom. On Mars, The Russians look at the designs that one of the human countries probably gave to the terraformers. They realize which division betrayed their mission, but they don't reveal it to the audience now for suspense reasons. Elsewhere, Akari's drug starts getting depleted, so he starts losing control as he's no longer who is. Maybe he just needs Snickers. But Captain Komachi and Michelle, the two people who brought him on this mission, calm him down and he thanks them. They all take more drugs and have a Power Ranger style power up. Then they have themselves a massacre down on Earth. Hiruma asks Honda to join him to stop that division which has betrayed them up on Mars. The humans destroy the terraformars, one after the other. Down on Earth, Prime Minister Ichiro sends a rescue mission to Mars, even if no one else will help them up on Mars. The terraformars are getting destroyed, so they all gather together in even greater numbers to fight them. But Akari is not concerned. He promises to beat them no matter what. Saying so, he runs towards them. In the post-credits scene, we see that the Chinese division is alive and well. They only pretended to be dead and they are the ones who betrayed the Annex mission. We also see a spaceship that looks like the ones in the designs in the pyramids. The spaceship seems to be going towards Earth. What is the endgame plan of the Chinese? We have yet to find out. And with that, the series is wrapped up by a self-destruct. Michelle's division and Captain Komaki's division have gathered together and they are fighting the terraformars. The Russian division has found proof that the Annex mission was betrayed by one of the other divisions. The Chinese only pretended to be dead. They are still alive. I'm calling it right now. These guys are the bad guys. And finally, a spaceship that looks like it belongs to the terraformars has left Mars' destination, maybe Earth. Akari and Michelle are back to back against a whole lot of terraformars. And yes, we heard you. These terraformars really do look like Obunga. Maybe these are all Obama's descendants. Anyways, Akari and Michelle are both extremely powerful and well trained, which means they kick ass. Michelle recalls seeing Akari with a boy struggling with the alien virus. That boy to save him is Akari's motivation. Michelle calls Akari an idiot for making that promise to that kid. And you know what that means. She's starting to develop feelings for him. Some terraformars try to kill Akari, but Alex uses his baseball skills to save him. But Akari's mutant drug runs out, so Michelle rushes to save him. But Akari is an anime protagonist, so remember this, they always get up. Now if you remember, Akari can use his mutant powers without the drug. He just needed the drug to stabilize his mentality. So Akari activates his power to a huge explosion. Fueled with a desire to save the boy, Akari goes to fight the special mutant terraformer. Despite having his ass kicked, he still somehow manages to beat it. When Michelle comes to hold him, his hand somehow finds its way to her breast. I'm surprised she hasn't kicked his ass for this. Once they beat the rest of the enemies, Akari is put to rest while the others regroup. Michelle tells Captain Komachi that Adolf's division is probably annihilated. They continue journeying for the next 6 days without being attacked by the terraformars. Captain Komachi leads the combined 2 divisions towards the main Annex ship. On the way, Komachi has a few backstory flashbacks. He thinks about the Chinese leader Lu and how friendly and outgoing he was. Komachi really trusted Lu down on Earth. The leader of UNASA reveals to the international leaders that the Annex project was not meant to study the terraformers. It was meant as a trial experiment for the humans who have been given mutation powers. Back on Mars, Michelle starts behaving more open and warmly in front of Akari. Komachi is shocked to see this because Michelle is usually a cold-hearted tsundere. Meanwhile, the Russian division led by Sylvester finds more rooms inside the Martian pyramid with blueprints and designs. There are charts detailing the human anatomy. All the 6 officers know that the terraformers are interested in human bodies. So why were the Chinese division's bodies all burned up? Michelle and Komachi start suspecting that the Chinese are still alive and probably the traitors to this mission. And yes, that's true. The Chinese have reached the main Annex ship and they are acting in secret. They are attacked by a horde of terraformers, but their leader Lu is very chill about it. They use a targeted missile system like the red light green light stuff to kill these enemies. Captain Komaki's team also reaches near the location. Seeing the Chinese division there, Komachi feels betrayed by Lu. He contacts Earth for further instructions, but Lu realizes that they have been caught, so he uses a jamming device to stop their communication. Lu contacts them and reveals that they, the Chinese, were the ones who brought the 6 terraformers on board before they even arrived on Mars. Then he threatens to shoot powerful missiles at them unless Akari and Michelle had themselves over to them. Akari and Michelle are special, remember, because they mysteriously inherited their mutant powers instead of going through surgery. But Komachi and the others stop them, saying that they can't be trusted. Just then, some Formars attack the Chinese division, so they put up an AA shield against their rocks. So Alex throws his baseball with the speed of a bullet at the AA machine. In the short time before the AA shield comes up again, Kanako takes Komachi to Leo. Komachi fights off many of Lu's members with ease. Then they go face to face with each other. Using the strength of the giant hornet, Komachi manages to put a big spike through Leo's neck. Meanwhile, the Russian division gets an SOS from Komachi and Michelle's Japanese-American alliance. Komachi tells everyone that he has injected a painful venom into Lu's body, but it turns out Lu is not dead. Lu commands his men to shoot Komachi's legs. Then he uses the mutant drug to transform into the blue-ringed octopus, which can heal itself rapidly, but he does not kill Komachi. He takes him hostage. Seeing this, Michelle and Akari escape from the location because Lu's division wants them and only them. Suddenly their air is filled with a hallucination. The gas belonging to the Russian Ivan. Using the advantage of the genjutsu, they save Komachi. Then they send their airship into the fray. Turns out the Russian and the Chinese are allies. We're allies. Now the Russians are turning their backs on the Chinese because of how the Chinese have betrayed everyone. Meanwhile, Michelle and the others rush toward the Roman division to gain reinforcements. Sylvester is angry at Lu and the Chinese for teaching the Formars so much about humanity. Despite being allies on Earth, he is now ready to kick ass. After all, he has a family to protect. The Chinese bombard Sylvester with a barrage of missiles, but Sylvester is an old man in a battle anime, so naturally he's super tough and he destroys the missiles instead. Meanwhile, Sylvester's son-in-law Alexander sneaks into the annex ship. Honestly, I'm surprised anyone has the courage to marry Sylvester's daughter down on Earth. Ichiro reveals that his country has secured Professor Honda in the process. He reveals that Honda was the one who created Akari. All the world leaders are shocked to hear that an important scientist like Honda is now under Japanese control. Meanwhile, the two bosses, Sylvester and Lu, start fighting, so the mini-bosses from both sides engage each other. Lu gains the upper hand and knocks out Sylvester. The Chinese mini-bosses also defeat the Russian ones down on Earth. The NASA leader tries to bring Professor Honda into the meeting, but Prime Minister Ichiro is tough on the matter, and he decides to keep Honda as his trump card up on Mars. Lu takes the defeated Russian members hostage. While being held, Sylvester thinks about his conversation with the Russian president. Sylvester and his team found something important in the pyramids. What it was won't be revealed now for suspense purposes. Of course, Sylvester regains his strength and goes to fight Lu. When Leo grabs him using the tentacles, Sylvester cuts off both their limbs. Then he starts breaking Lu's body with his legs, so Lu starts spewing his octopus poison. Just then, Alexander comes out of the annex. He threatens to shoot the communication jamming tower with the missiles. If that happens, then all the divisions will be able to contact Earth and tell them that the Chinese have betrayed them. So one of the Chinese girls, Chun-Li, comes forward and she starts stripping. Is Chun-Li trying to seduce? Okay, no, it's just her powers. Chun-Li disappears and appears behind Alexander and almost kills him, but one of the Russians stops them. Then suddenly a strange light comes and stops Chun-Li. The sky suddenly goes dark. Let's not forget that we're on Mars and they are here to fight Obunga. I mean, terraformers and the terraformers are here in massive numbers. There are so many of them. They blot out the sky. A very specially mutated terraformer with the powers of a dragonfly comes and easily kills one of the Russian members. The Russians and the Chinese work together to fight it, but it is too fast. It gathers all the bodies of the dead humans and sends them to the others for experimentation. Meanwhile, one of the Chinese girls, Hong, who is very innocent, goes inside the annex, but a young terraformer appears behind her. Outside the annex, more of the young terraformers attack them, while the leader teaches them how to fight. They start dominating the humans. Just then, Kanako appears and cuts the little terraformars. Ivan also comes with her and releases the genjutsu toxin. While Kanako distracts the dragonfly terraformer, the guys defeat the little ones. Kanako manages to escape, so the dragonfly terraformer goes back to the annex and all the terraformers start swarming over it. They really want to destroy the main ship. Suddenly, the terraformers start dropping from the spaceship like flies from a spaceship. The Chinese wear full body armors. Turns out Hong can release a very very deadly bacteria that can kill anything. And I mean anything within a small radius. Seeing that Hong's mutation is a bacteria type, Sylvester commands everyone to retreat while Hong exposes her naked body to the skies. Alexander stays back. He infiltrates the Chinese and kills one of them. Lu correctly deduces that it must be Alexander, and he's probably ready to die, as he isn't wearing a protective suit. Meanwhile, Alexander has lost one arm, but he's still trying to kill Hong so that his teammates can approach the annex ship. How about a character backstory? We haven't had those in a while. Long ago, when Alexander had hair, he fell in love with a girl named Gina. Despite being rejected so many times, Alexander kept pushing her. She says that her father would not allow it, so Alexander asks to meet her father, and her father is the scary General Sylvester. In their first meeting ever, Sylvester punches him out of the house. Gina says that he looks like a playboy, so he shaves his hair. It works. Sylvester punches him again. Despite all this, Alexander refuses to give up. Seeing his dedication, Gina starts falling for him, so she takes him back. This time, Sylvester punches him again. Gina gets angry, so she and her mother beat up Sylvester and demand that he give Alexander a chance. Soon after, Alexander and Gina get married. Gina gets pregnant, but one day she gets infected with the alien virus. To save her is the reason Sylvester and Alexander are here on Mars. Back to the present. Alexander goes full Rambo on the Chinese and kills them one by one. He finally corners Hong in an empty room. He hesitates, seeing that it's just a child, but he loves his wife too much and will do anything to save them. The Russians need to use the annex ship's facilities to make the vaccine for the alien virus. He is just about to kill Hong, but the Chinese come to save her. They overpower Alexander with their greater numbers. But they have one thing that Alexander does not: the willingness to die. He injects 4 doses of the drugs and grabs Chun-Li by the neck, but Hong grabs him and begs him not to kill Chun-Li. Alexander hesitates, and in that time he dies from a drug overdose. Leo takes this time to appreciate Alexander's resolve and warrior spirit. Then they contact Akari and Michelle to force them to surrender, but they are faced with a bigger threat: a mutant. Terraformer stops them, and this one seems to have absorbed Michelle's father's powers, the same power that she inherited genetically from him. Elsewhere, Captain Komachi wakes up. Sylvester quickly runs him through all the ish that went down and details about the Chinese division's powers. Then they decide to go toward Akari and Michelle to assist them. Meanwhile, Akari and Michelle uses threads and the 2 ships to grab the anti-terraformer. While she beats it up, she thinks back to her father and their mutual fascination over ants. As she's about to deal the final blow, the terraformer knocks her away with a flick of his fingers. On top of that, another terraformer appears and it uses a special acid to dissolve Akari's thread. Then the 2 of them prepare to gang up on him. But Michelle didn't hear no bell. She comes back to the ant terraformer all ready for round 2. She quickly tries to use her explosive gas on it, but the ant terraformer sucks in the explosive gas. Then it throws the acid. Terraformer and Akari far away, hits A11 versus 1 full anime style. The acid terraformer starts using a strange martial arts technique to attack him. Akari, being a karate specialist, manages to fight back, so the terraformer takes out his gun and kindly asks him to parry this. You filthy casual, with lots of bullets in his body. Akari slumps down. Yeah. Echo from the Japanese division has no one to ask for help, so she calls the Chinese to shoot their missiles at the terraformer, which is about to take Akari away. So the Chinese shoot a missile in that position. Turns out this was a clever plan by Michelle into the group. Akari suddenly wakes up. He was wearing bulletproof vests after all. He uses his threads to bring the missile down. It's actually empty. It turns out when Alexander snuck into the annex spaceship, he removed the warhead from the missiles, and instead he put a weapon that was very special to Akari. Alexander knew that the Chinese would shoot at Akari if the terraformers were going to take him. Akari thanks Alexander for working so hard to get the weapon to him. The weapon is especially forged, a ninja blade meant for someone like Akari to use. It's now a proper showdown between him and the acid terraformer. Subscribe his new blade. The terraformer, dressed like God, steps back. Akari recounts how he was abandoned when he was just a baby and left in front of a dojo. The terraformer is going to die of boredom if Akari does not do anything soon. So to take the plot forward, the god terraformer starts using his own club to throw powerful streams of rocks at him. Meanwhile, Sylvester tells Komachi of his theory about an ancient civilization called Rahab. He believes that Rahab created the terraformers and maybe even humanity. However, there is no proof that Rahab exists or ever existed. The theory was proposed by a Russian member of the Bugs 2 mission, and the Russian president also believes in this theory. That's enough exposition. Back to the action sequence. Akari is pushed back by the terraformer, but he goes full samurai on it and kills it with a single stroke. But he is far too tired, so he also collapses to the ground. Meanwhile, Michelle is fighting the ant terraformer. She also has a flashback because a backstory during a fight scene is a necessity in every anime. Once when she was young, her school collapsed. Her friends had suffered terrible injuries, but she alone came out unharmed. Michelle hated her father for disappearing, but when she looks into the files that Komachi gave her, she realized that her father was a hero. Her powers are a memory of her father using her father's memories as motivation. Michelle kicks the ant terraformer's ass. She uses a unique rocket system on her armor to break its limbs, but in the process, her bones also start getting cracked. Still, Michelle steps forward and keeps attacking the terraformer, but she gets too tired and the terraformer is still alive. It is just about to kill her, but Akari arrives just in time. He throws his blade at the terraformer and binds it using his threads. They can now finally rest, but no. The Chinese arrive to take them before coming to them. The Chinese man named Bao shoots Alex's leg. Then Bao uses his net to capture the two of them and he starts taking them back to the annex ship. Meanwhile, Akari's teammates are digging underground towards the annex ship. Their plan is to destroy the signal jamming tower and tell everyone on Earth that the Chinese have betrayed them. While the rest are digging, Marcos takes a little break to think about that sad moment when Sheila was killed and how Alex forgave him. While Bao is driving their ship towards his base, a giant net stops them. So Bao puts it on autopilot and goes out to protect the ship from a horde of terraformars coming their way. All he has is that one blade and he fights without using any mutant powers. Since there are thousands of terraform Ares, Bao throws Alex and Yahiko away as a distraction. Alex saves Yahiko and he takes this very dangerous time to do something important to tell Yahiko that he has a crush on her. Seriously, not the right time, buddy. Alex tells her to run away, but Yahiko obviously does not do that. She uses the drug and reveals her own mutation, the striped skunk. Her smell is so strong that even the terraformars are afraid of stepping forward. Suddenly, Yahiko is shot by a mutant terraformer with the power to shoot highly compressed water. Yahiko falls down in pain. The terraformer also shoots Bao's arm. Now that Yahiko is injured, the terraformars step forward and kick Alex until he bleeds. Then they come to finish the job on Yahiko. However, the terraformer drops dead. Coming to their rescue is the #1 ranked warrior, Joseph, the leader of the Roman division. Michelle is just angry at Joseph for not being available all this while. Come on, Joseph was just saving himself for the third act. I mean, if he just walks in when there is no danger, then where's the fun in that? Joseph takes his own sword and then, without using any mutation powers, he takes on all the terraformars at once. That's pretty badass, not gonna lie. They catch up to Bao's ship quickly while he slices the terraformars. On the way, he gets on top of the ship, coming face to face with Bao. Joseph and Bao go all out against each other while also fighting the terraformars, which are attacking them at the same time. Bao tries to kick Michelle. Seeing this, Joseph gets furious because, well, he's a hard simp for her. He breaks Bao's leg and then throws him overboard. Bao is immediately killed by a horde of terraformars. Joseph tells Michelle about his division. He attracted the attention of the terraformars while sending his crew members away, but the water bullet power belonged to one of his members. Meaning that his crew members are all probably dead. Joseph drives the ship while Yahiko gives the drug to Michelle and Akashi. After Michelle recovers, Joseph makes a marriage proposal to her. Michelle splutters out all her water in shock. Michelle reveals that Joseph has proposed to her before as well, just 4 days after they met. Michelle wants to tell him to kindly frock off, but she can't do that since Joseph literally just saved her and her teammates' lives, so she agrees to have lunch with him once they get back on Earth. Meanwhile, the members of the Japanese and American divisions are about to reach the annex ship, but they are found by the Chinese. It turns out to be Bao. He's still alive somehow. Guess even villains are wearing plot armors here. Bao promptly shoots the members, so Kenji and Marcos take their drugs and quickly engage him in battle. Marcos makes quick work and defeats him, but there is another Bao who is holding a girl, Peggy, hostage. Peggy cuts him with her spikes and they quickly start running towards the tower while Marcos engages Bao. Luckily for them, the other members of the Chinese division have gone out to capture Arcady and Michelle. However, the Japanese and Americans do not know that Hong is using her bacteria. Just then, the dragonfly captures Peggy and throws her into the horde of Terra Formars. Marcos comes face to face with Bao, or rather a multitude of them. Bao reveals that he has the power of a sea squirt, which can clone itself. Meanwhile, the rest of them enter the annex ship. There they find out that there is a biological weapon active right now, and they have 15 minutes left to live. Just then, the dragonfly comes in front of them. Keiichi holds it back with his boxing skills. The dragonfly is too fast and Koji loses one arm, but he also manages to send a finishing blow and beat the dragonfly. However, he gets separated from the rest of the team. Outside, Bao reveals to Marcos that a Chinese battleship is coming to Mars. Once it reaches here, they will kill everyone who is not allied to the Chinese, so he asks Marcos to join his side. So Marcos lays down his weapon and relaxes on the ground when Bao starts talking cheerfully like a homicidal sociopath. Marcos drives his staff right through his smug face. When Bao shoots at him, Marcos stops all the bullets and kills them. Down on Earth, the German Chancellor asks the Roman President to join the alliance with Japan and America, but the Romans decline. He has the warrior Joseph, and he does not need an alliance with America and Japan. Instead, he asks Germany to join him. Ichiro and his brother Hiruma find out that the Chinese battleship is about to reach Mars. Inside the annex, another one of Bao's clones commands Hong to release all her bacteria and kill Keiichi and the others that have entered the dragonfly. Terraformer also wakes up. Keiichi goes to the control room while his teammates go to look for the protective armor. Hong tells Bao that she can't kill any more humans, but Bao slaps her and brings her to her senses, reminding her why she's here for her family back on Earth. If they are caught by the other countries of Earth, then they will be treated as traitors to humanity. Keiichi's teammates Amelia Wolf and a few others are looking for the protective gear. However, some terraformars have also entered the ship. They have found many clones of Bao which they killed. I can't believe I'm saying this, but good job terraformars. Then they wear protective gear and destroy the remaining suits right in front of them. But instead of attacking them, they immediately go for Bao and Hong, so Bao holds them back. Despite being 2v1, Bao is just about to kill them, but one of the terraformer turns out to be a mutant. It stabs him with poison. It is about to penetrate him again, but Hong stops it. Meanwhile, Lu and 3 Bao clones are looking for Michelle and Akari. Michelle and the group are actually going north as commanded by Captain Komachi. The terraformars are about to kill Hong and Bao, but Keiichi stops one of them while Chun-Li stops the other one. But Keiichi is not impressed by Chun-Li's nudity, and he throws her a suit for him to wear. Immediately after, she punches the living guts out of him. But Keiichi is one of the best fighters here and he gets back up. However, he says that he has a policy of never hitting any women, so when Chun-Li beats him up, he does not hit back. He gets hurt terribly, but Keiichi keeps coming back. Meanwhile, the rest of his team members reach the control room with 6 minutes left for the bacteria to start working on them. Meanwhile, Joseph goes to find Lu. Joseph knows that Lu will start firing long-range missiles at Michelle and Ikari if he has no other choice, so he goes to stop him before that happens. Meanwhile, Keiichi continues halting Chun-Li while Wolf hacks the tower from inside the control room. Things are pretty intense as he has to get it done in 6 minutes. Just like the deadline night for my final year report, Wolf thinks about the time he was fired for not completing his report properly, but his teammates send him validations and encourage him to work without worrying. So he gets to work. Suddenly, a terraformer enters the room through a hole in the floor, but none of them can dare to move or say anything. None of them is a fighter, after all, and they are rushing to finish the job. The terraformer starts attacking them, so Kaji enters and kills the terraformer. Chun-Li tries to stop their hacking, so Kaji holds her down. Suddenly, the terraformer tries to kill Hong, so Kaji saves her. Letting her die would save them all a lot of trouble, but he saves her anyway. Seriously, my boy Keiji is everywhere. Then Keiji breaks the floor to save his friends. They all survive the fall using one of the members' webs, but the terraformer is still alive. Both Chun-Li and Keiji attack, but it seems to have no effect. The terraformer has the powers of a rattle. which is extremely aggressive and also has a thick fur that can absorb attacks. KG and Chun-Li work together to fight the rattle terraformer, but the rattle terraformer is too strong for them. So KG punches with full power while Chun-Li guides it with her precision. They kill the rattle, but the force knocks them both out as well. Wolf regrets not being able to hack the tower, and now the bacteria will start taking effect. However, one of their members, Amelia, is still up there. She goes to finish the job that Wolf started without any concern for her safety down on Earth. The German Chancellor asks Ishiro to work with her, but Ishiro has faith in his people on Mars. While Amelia is doing her best to hack into the system, Akari and Michelle are fending off a lot of terraformars. Again, Amelia has the narwhal whale mutation. When it dives deep, it can turn off any organs it does not need and only uses the ones it needs. So she shuts off her other organs while only focusing on working her fingers to hack the tower. While working on the system, she thinks about how much she loves KG and how she's afraid of dying with tears and blood. She continues typing away. Finally, she just needs to press one button. She vomits blood and almost faints, but she presses the button anyways. Everyone all around realizes what happened. Michelle, Akari, everyone. Lou panics. Suddenly, some terraformars come at the door, ready to kill her, but Amelia takes the speaker and contacts Earth. The backup jamming starts taking effect, but just before the connection shuts off completely, she manages to relay one message: save us all. The world leaders quickly work towards sending a rescue ship to Mars. Meanwhile, Amelia is about to be killed, but some other members of her team save her. An army of terraformers rush in, so they have little time to waste down on Earth. NASA finds out that there are 3 ships going toward Mars. One is that Chinese battleship, and there are 2 others as well. Who are they? Unknown. We'll get to know them later. Later, Amelia wakes up with the rest of her teammates. Apparently, Hong has an antidote to her own bacteria, so they are all safe. I mean, that was quite convenient. The Annex ship is overrun by the terraformars. Amelia apologizes to Captain Komachi for not being able to relay the full message about the Chinese betrayal, but Komachi comforts her. He reveals that when the jamming system was down, Michelle and Akari contacted the German government and told them everything about the Chinese. He thanks her and her teammates for sacrificing so much to get those precious tens. Despite losing so many people, Komachi says that their mission has been successful. Now they have to wait for their rescue ships. Lou is a villain, and like all villains who have lost, he too cannot take it properly. He is very bitter about the whole thing, so he prepares to fire a guided missile at Akari and Michelle. But surprise, surprise, let's not forget one thing: Rank 1 Joseph. He's been looking for Lou and he finally reaches them, ready to end it. Akari and Michelle, along with Yahiko and Alex, continue their journey north as commanded by Captain Komachi. Captain Komachi also brings his entire combined division to the north. He says that they'll be going to the sea. Looks like we're going to have a lot of sea battles in Season 3, folks down on Earth. A couple is having a nice time on their date. Suddenly they are ambushed by terraformars. What? How did they get here? They killed a couple with ease. Elsewhere, 2 other terraformars can be seen living a normal life in an apartment elsewhere on Mars. One of the mutant terraformars obtains the electricity power that Adolf used to have, while a group of politician terraformars look over him.